Die Gruppespflegen gepravet werden gewöhnlich hinauf und mit großer Simche. The weddings were usually celebrated in the evening and with great joy. Gimpel Klezmer mit seinem Kapelle pflegt spielen freiliche Marschen. Gimpel, the musician with his band, used to play happy marches, melodies. Machatenestes mit flackernde Havdoles in die Hand und getanzt über dem ganzen Weg. The female relatives, Machatenestes can be female relatives, also those that participated in the wedding with Havdalah candles that's like that are waving lightning in their hands. They danced all throughout the way. In alle Fenster von Häuser, vor welche Chossenkalle seien vorbeigegangen, hat man herausgestellt angezündete Licht. In all the windows of the houses by which the bride and groom were passing, they put out lit candles. Die Bobbe hat nicht nur herausgestellt Licht in die Fenster, nur sie hat sich euch angetan, das Schabesdicke seidene Tichel auf dem Kopf und gewünschen Maselto die Machatonim und Machatenestes, was pflegen kommen, rufen dem Seiden Mesader Kedushin sein. So, the grandma not only took out candles, put out candles in the windows like everybody else, but she also put on her Sabbath silk kerchief on her head and wished Mazel Tov, good luck, congratulations to all the participants, male participants and female participants. Was pflegen kommen rufen dem Seiden, those that used to come to invite the grandpa to arrange weddings, to perform wedding ceremonies. Zu der Wünschenisch und Kuschenisch und Venerei hat gar kein Sof nicht genommen. There was no end to this wishing and to this kissing and crying. Aber freilicher davon seinen gewähnt die Lastschines. But happier than that, where the Lastschines is the making happy after the wedding happiness. I believe it's on the morning after the wedding.
Or the week after.
Or the week after, yeah. Okay. Is it Sheva Broches?
No, it's after. The Sheva Brachas are the first week, and it's after that.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Es ist gewesen am Minag in Stott, als zu morgens noch der Chassene, here it is Gimpel Klezmers Kapelle gekommen zu der Kalle in Heus und mit Musik sie geführt zum Machatonim und zum Rov. On the day after the wedding, Gimpel, the musician, Gimpel's musical band came to the bride in the house and accompanied her with music to the relatives and to the rabbi. Die Kalef legt gain ausgeputzt in ihre schönste Kleider. The bride used to dress up in her best clothes. Machateneste und Mischpoche seien mitgegangen. The relatives and again the family accompanied her. Die Bobbe pflegt sich unten in ihre schabesdicke Kleider und aufnehmen die Kalle mit Großkowed und Zeremonies. The grandmother used to dress up in her Shabbos clothing and welcome the bride with great respect and with ceremonies. That's with ceremonies. Okay. Dabei hat sie gestellt Leckach und Wein. And then she used to give out cake and wine. Und die Zeremonie hat sich gerufen Loschines. Und ich habe, see, here it says it's the morning after. That's why I got it after the
Right. Yeah, I guess Naborsky's dictionary says the next week, but that's fine.
Okay, that's where I got it, that the Loschines is on the morning after. Und die Zeremonie hat sich gerufen Loschines. Und ich habe gequollen, ich von die gute Sachen, was ich hab dabei gekrogen, ich von äußeren, die alle weiberische Broches und Wünscheneschen und Kuschereien und Gewähnen zusammen mit der Musik von Gimpel Klezmers Kapelle. So this ceremony, the grandmother the grandmother arranged in the morning was called this Laschines, and I got a lot of pleasure from the good food that I got, but also from listening to all these womanly well wishes and again well wishing and kissing and crying together with the music of the band of Gimpel. Okay.
All right, I'll continue then.
Okay.
Kind und Kate pflegt sich ankommen zu der Bobben in Kirch. All sorts of people would arrive to visit grandma in her kitchen. Und viele Franzischek, der Bodgoy, pflegt sich wegstellen bei der Tür. Betten Moizichala oder a Glessel Brunfen. Even Franzischek, the non-Jewish bathhouse attendant, would set himself up next to the door, requesting a little bit of challah or a little glass of whiskey. For was hat abgezahlt mit der Welt mit Brachas und darf kein Yiddish, for which he would pay with a heap of blessings, and actually in Yiddish. Otter Franzischek, was hat gedient in Merchetz als Gehilf beim Beder, is given a farbeker Parschein. This here Franzischek, who served in the bathhouse as an assistant to the bathhouse attendant, he was a colorful fellow. angetan in an alten zerrissenen Mundir, dressed in an old, ragged uniform. Was hat herausgeworfen in Mist, was es hat herausgeworfen in Mist, der russische Polkovnik von kasachischen Polk, which the Russian regiment leader had just thrown away. The leader of the Kazakh regiment, is dabei gegangen, Borvis, and he, wearing that, nonetheless was walking barefoot, und sein schicker Ponym is given ausgeschmiert mit Riss und Blotte, and his drunken face was smeared with mud and, now what's Riss?
I don't think I saw it in the dictionary. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
or it can mean a crack.
I understood it as dirt.
It could be dirt, yeah.
Maybe it's a synonym to blotte, kind of.
Yeah, apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Für was der Mensch, was hat gearbeitet und gewohnt in Bord, hat keinmal nicht gefunden für nötig, sich herumzuwaschen, ist gewinnt schwer zu verstehen. How come such a person who worked and actually lived in the bathhouse would never find it necessary to wash himself? That was hard to understand. Aber so ist es gewinnt, but that's how it was. Der Bordgoy in Mundir von a Polkovnik hat euch keinmal nicht gekämmt seine Koltenes von Kopf und der Bord. This bathhouse attendant, in his uniform from a regimental leader, never combed the coltiness of his head. That's the
locks.
Well, it's the locks, but it's not just the locks. It's the locks that have gotten the elf locks. The what do you call it when there's in your hair? The mats, yeah, the mats in his head and in his beard. Aber zusammen damit hat sehr geduldig paradiert. But together with that, he very proudly would parade around in sein farbigen Mundir, in his colorful uniform. Überhaupt, wenn vielleicht Peuken in Mark jeden Mittwoch. Especially when he would drum up business. Peuken is to drum in the marketplace every Wednesday. As Simon, as Goyim und Zelder können gehen sich paaren in jüdischen Merchats. And this was a sign that the non-Jews and the soldiers would be allowed to go steam themselves in the Jewish bathhouse. Der Franzischek pflegt euch reden Yiddish, mit aller Loschen Kodesh gered. This Franzischek, he would also speak Yiddish with all of the Hebraic words. Und pflegt sich halten nur zwischen Jiden. And he would surround himself only with Jews. Pflegt ausreden all das Beis auf die Goyim. He would actually speak badly about the non-Jews. Why they would never take him in as a guest. Like, unlike the Jews who would take as guests the Jewish poor folk. Sie haben goyische Herzen, like they're sagen auf say. They've got non-Jewish hearts, he would say about them. Das hat ihm nicht abgehalten zu siedeln Jiden. Und drohen sie mit der Nekumme von die Brüder Christen. This didn't stop him, though, from cursing Jews and threatening them with revenge of his brother Christians every time when he would take a little bit too much to drink. Und das hat sich getroffen bei ihm jeden Montag und Donnerstag. That happened to him quite frequently. One could say every Monday and Thursday. Ot der Franzischek pflegt sich reiben alle Yiddische Simchas. This Franzischek, he would rub shoulders with all the Jewish celebrations. Bei jeder Chasana und Latchenes is euch gekommen. And at every wedding and this after wedding celebration, he also would come. Und gestanden bei der Tür, he would stand at the door, greit sich ab en epis von die Rachmonim b'nei Rachmonim, ready to receive something from the Jews who are known as merciful and children of the merciful. Good.
Okay. Die Bobbe fleckt fallen von die Fies von Ot die alle Simchas. So the Bobbe would literally fall off her feet, be totally exhausted. Aber sie hat nicht gehabt, keine Zeit, sich abzuruhen. But she didn't have any time to rest. Die große Stube hat Tomit gefordert und sie fleckt herumlaufen mit kleiner Giche trittlich. The big house all demanded from her all the time things, and she would run around with very small, quick little steps, klingen mit die Schlüsseln und porken sich bei Almers, Schaffes, kämmerlich und mehr von als beim größten Euven. And as she walked around with these quick little steps, the keys would ring, and she would fiddle in cupboards and closets, in little rooms, and more than anything else, she would be busy with the big oven. Wo Tomit hat sich etwas gebacken oder gekocht. In this oven, there was always something that was baking or cooking. Aber schwerer von alles ist gewesen für ihr die ewige Kinessine, was ist umgegangen in ihr Haus zwischen die Kinder und Einiglich und Kräuven. But more than anything else, there was the constant jealousy, hatred, which was around in the house between the children, the grandchildren, and the relatives. Koidem kol hat nicht geherrscht kein Shalom zwischen ihre beiden Sinn und seine Mishpochas. Firstly, there didn't rule any peace between her two sons and their families. Der Vetter Joseph, der Bechor, hat, was ist gewinn, dahin in Stott, hat Tomit gehabt Verdruss der Fahr, was das ganze dobre Masel legt man rein in sein ingeren Bruder. So the uncle Joseph, who was the firstborn and who was a dayan, a judge in the town, he always had this resentment because of the whole of the dobre mazel is good fortune, but it's used here ironically. That was placed on his younger brother, Itcha, was tut gar nicht und est ewige Kest. This younger brother who did nothing and just lived in the house and was supported in the house. In der Zeit, wenn Josef, darf sich ausdarren dem Kopf verspeisen Weib und Kinder. At the same time, Joseph, was constantly worried about how to feed his wife and his children. Hat gehabt, Sibes zu sein, eifersüchtig der Vetter Joseph. He had reason to be jealous, this uncle Joseph. Erstens is gewesen der Älteste. First of all, he was the oldest, the firstborn in the family. Zweitens is gewesen mehr Landen und Kopfmensch von seinem jüngeren Bruder. And secondly, he was much more learned and more of an intellectual type of person than his younger brother. Emes, der Vetter Itche, hat euch gehabt smicha auf Rabbonis. It's true that Uncle Itche also was ordained as a rabbi. Aber kein größer Lamden ist dabei nicht gewesen. But he wasn't, at the same time, he wasn't very learned. Der Vetter Joseph hat geschämt für einen eisernen Kopf. Uncle Joseph was well known for his sharp mind. Dazu hat man ihm euch gehalten für ein Chochem. Und jeden pflegen kommen zu ihm, pflegen Eitzes. And in addition, he was well known. He was considered as a wise man, and the Jews used to come to him. People used to come to him to ask for advice. Is gewesen a Kenner und a gewaltiger Baal Cheshbon. He knew everything, and he was very good with numbers in working things out. Allein bloß von reingucken in Bichlich hat sich ausgelernt Russisch und höhere Mathematik. So he himself, simply from looking into, from reading books, he taught himself Russian and higher mathematics. Und pflegt damit herumgehen mit einem Stickel Kret und in der Hand und machen mathematische Aufgaben auf alle Wände, Tischen und Bänke. And he used to walk around with a piece of chalk in his hand, and he would make mathematical calculations on all the walls, tables, and benches. Die Boba hat geteinet, als Pharaser Mensch, a Dayan in Stott, passt nicht, soll sich herumreißen mit seinen jüngeren Brüder. The Boba complained that for such a person, someone who was a judge in the town, it wasn't fitting for him to argue with his younger brother. Man kann sein ihm und reingucken zu ihm in die Teppich, that he should be jealous of him and literally look into the pots, in other words, to pick him out all the time. A Yid, a Dayan, darf sich fühlen bekoved. A person who was a judge should behave respectably. Äußig sein in Teure und nicht haben in Sinnen kein Kinder und Sinne. That he should busy himself with Torah, and that he shouldn't have in mind all this jealousy and hatred. Was passt für a Idene. That sort of thing is more befitting for a woman. Aber der Vetter Josef hat nicht gewollt äußig sein in Teure und führen sich bekovet. But Uncle Joseph didn't want to busy himself with Torah and to behave respectably. Wie Faradayan passt, nor hat gar lieb gehabt, reinzugucken zu die Bobben in Kich. And so he didn't want to behave in the way that was fitting for a judge, but he loved to come in and look into what was going on in the Bobber's kitchen, mischen sich in alles, and involve himself in everything. Reinstecken die gebeugene Nos und haben teines, was man gist sein ingeren Bruder Itche Gold in Holzer rein. And he wanted all the time to stick his hooked nose into everything and to complain about why they treated his brother Itcha so well that they poured gold into his throat, that he was allowed to live in the house without contributing anything. Mehr noch wie die Bobbe hat der Seele geguckt krumm darauf, wo sein Bechor, welcher wird über 120 Jahre davon übernehmen, sein Rabbones, geht nicht in seine, dem Vaters wegen, nur verbringt seine Zeit mit Sitzen in Kirch zwischen die Weiber. But more than the Bobba, the Zayda frowned upon the fact that his firstborn, who in 120 years' time would have had to take over from his rabbinic duties, that he didn't geht nicht in seine, but he didn't mind his own business.
He didn't follow his father's path.
He didn't follow in his father's path, right? But he spent his time sitting in the kitchen among the women. Joseph bis sich mevaze hat ihm gemusset. Joseph, you are wasting your time, you're abusing your position. He scolded him. Gedenk, du bist dayan bei Jiden. Halt sich bekovet, wie ein Mensch. Remember that you are a judge among the Yidden, the people. Act respectably, like a mensch. Okay. Moti?
Ja. Der Vater Josef hat nicht gewollt sich halten bei Kavod. In Stadt sitzen und lernen oder keilen sich in städtische Unionen, hat gar lieb gehabt zu sitzen in Kirch und Cheshbonen. So, let's go to the previous page. Oh yeah. the father, Yosef,
Uncle.
didn't
Uncle
want.
Yosef.
uncle,
Vater.
Vetter.
Vetter.
Vetter, uncle.
Vetter, yeah. The Vetter is the uncle Yosef. Hat nicht gewollt, he didn't want to behave בכבוד, honorably. Instead of sitting and studying other and work on Stottish and Yonim. This is the town in the town's matters. He was sitting. He loved to sit in the kitchen and make his calculations. Als יותר גחשבנט, euch mathematische חשבנס und kleine חשבנס. He was doing all kind of calculations, high mathematics and little calculations, which means he was with other people probably. Wie viel Steiger sein Bruder Iche kost ob dem Seiden a Jahr, wie viel Einiglach die Bobbe ot gelost Euskeulen für die Jahren von Eibiker Kest für hot dem Itchen und sein Ausgesinnt, wie viel Steiger seinen ausgenutzt geworden für die Feinkuchers, was mir hat für a zendlich Jahr Zeit gemacht, für hat dem Itche und sein Weib Rochele und die Kinder Moishe und Yecheskel. A long sentence. He was calculating everything. How much is, what is a Steiger?
Steiger could mean after all,
Or for example.
or for example.
Okay. How much, for example, his brother Iche cost the grandpa per year? How much the grandkids, the grandma ought gelost?
yeah, hinderlach, how many chickens
Oh,
the grandma had to slaughter.
oh, okay. Because Iche was sitting there on Eibike Kest, he was always there, supported. Und seine Steiger seinen Ausgen, how many they were using for Feinkochens is
How many eggs for the
egg
omelets?
was
egg.
they have at Zendlik in what is Zendlik?
Dozens.
Oh, was how many eggs did they cook in dozens years? Zeit doesn't years for each the brother and his wife Rochele and the Kinder and the kids Moshe and Yecheskel. A kleiner und a riverdicker Wie die Bobbe mit a Euchenstern, Herr Otter, der Vetter Josef, תמיד geräuchert Papyrossen herumgegangen in und zurück geknetscht, dem Stern gehäschbend und gehäschbend und gehäschbend. A small one and what is Riverdike?
Lively.
Rieren is to move. Rieren zag. And it's
moving all the
he
time.
moves all the time. He's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, okay. A small one, and he moved all the time, like the grandma, with a high forehead. The uncle Yosef was always smoking cigarettes. He was walking up and down. He was walking forward and backward. He was geknetscht dem Stern. How do you say geknetscht?
Wrinkled.
Yeah, his forehead, making calculations and and calculations. The calculation, the high algebraische, the euch algebraische, wie die kleine Stubike hat gemacht, gleich schnell und gleich auf und Kohl. The high algebra and the small house mathematics he was doing and gleich auf den Kohl. And on his voice, he was doing it loudly.
Loud.
No? What is gemacht? Gemacht gleich. He was doing it immediately. Schnell.
I would say gleicher is equivalently. He would equivalently do both the high mathematics and the little household accounts, just the same.
Yes. Okay. Oib mir sollen annehmen, als Itche mit Weib und Kinder kosten ob das winzigste a Kerbel, a Tog, Fahr, Essen, Dire, Malbushim, Schich und andere Itztrachuten, kommt euch, als in Meshech von a so viel und a so viel Jahr macht euch a keinmal, what is it? Von
a Kaimalan is like, yeah.
A
A
total.
shachakol, a total.
total.
Yeah.
Als men soll zurechnen, dazu Prozent von a so viel und a so viel a Jahr, macht euch a keimelan von und ob men soll rechnen Prozenten von Prozenten, macht es a keimelan von. Okay. So, if we'll take, we'll take how much?
Assume, if we assume, if we
The sum.
assume or assess that that
Accept.
ornament.
Okay.
Okay.
And Iche and his wife and children cost at least a kerbel. What is a kerbel?
A ruble.
So, a tog for a day for eating, the apartment, the clothes, shoes, and other things that people need. the outcome is משך, in so viel, in so many years, macht es so, the sum is a Camelan von, oh, okay, he is calculating, he doesn't say the amount. If we'll, if we add to it the percent for so many years per year, it comes up. It comes up for, he doesn't say a number, and if we'll calculate the percent from percent, the, how do you say it in English? Percent from, it makes, okay, he is calculating how much his younger brother cost his parents per year. Okay. Dabei fleckt sich reinlosen in ein Netz von Ziffern, welche hat weggeworfen mit angeworfen mit äußerlicher Geneugt und Gierigkeit. Die Bobbe fleckt werden grün und gelb von die Geschbeines über ihr Liebling Itche. Dabei, by that time, he was kind of, it's like a net with his nails. Angeworfen. Yeah, I don't know this one. Die Bobbe fleckt werden green and gelb. The grandma didn't like it. All these calculations about her son Itche. Yosef genug cheshbent. Yosef enough to calculate. Hat sie gebeten, sich bei dem Bchor irren. She was asking her oldest son, was is sach hakol gewesen mit bloß 15 Jahre jünger von ihr. Was dem Bchor, was gewesen, he was only 15 years younger than her. Wow, was Josef, bist a Dayan und darfst sitzen in der Heim, Passeken Scheiles oder annehmen din Teures. Joseph, you are a judge and you are supposed to sit at home and to judge and to answer questions of the people, or ornament din teires. I don't know what is this. Ornament din teire. So to get the din teire, yeah.
To accept legal issues, Jewish legal issues.
Yeah. Der Vater Josef hat nicht aufgehört, räuchern und knitschen dem Stern in Cheshbenes und Cheshbenen. The uncle Joseph didn't stop to calculate, didn't stop
To smoke.
to smoke and wrinkle his forehead with calculations. Hat nicht nur gechespelt einere Sachen,
Eigene.
His own things.
eigene Sachen, nur euch Fremde. He was not only calculating his own business, his own things, but he was calculating of foreign people's business too. Is recht gewesen, vor dem Eus sollen verbeiten von mit Kletzer von nonten Wald, was hat gehört zu a stottischen Waldhändler, als der Vetter Josef soll gleich nehmen Cheshbenen. Wow.
The beginning there is, I think, idiomatic for all it took was that such and such should happen, and then he would immediately start calculating. So as is recht gewesen, all it took was.
Okay, I'll continue here. Oimer sollen annehmen, als der Waldhändler hackt euch unter der Kletzeratog, kommt euch als in a Wald, was hat zwei Wirst. What is this? Okay. Ich will annehmen, ich will get it as
Accept.
accept, yes.
Or assume.
Assume, yeah.
That the manager of the wald, of the forest, he cuts hundreds of pieces of wood per day. We get as that in a forest what hat zwei, in a forest was that have zwei
A Vorst is 2/3 of a mile. So zwei Vorst is about, I'll call it a bit over a mile.
Okay, so maybe somebody else will take it over.
Okay. Okay. Where should I start?
Oimer sollen annehmen.
Okay. Didn't look up words of this section, but I think I'll pass. Oimer sollen annehmen, als der Waldhändler hackt euch unter der Kletzeratog, kommt euch als in a Wald, wo so zwei Wurst, die Länge und a halben Wurst, die Breit, darf sein a Keimalan von same pattern of talking about numbers, math. If for instance, we assume that the forest manager cuts hundreds of pieces of wood in a day, it comes out that in a forest that has such length and such width, there ought to be a total of such and such of trees von Bäumen, was in Meshach von Tag macht es euch a keinmal a total of trees that during that for a day it comes out again a total of such and such. Was in Meshach von Ayo now for a year it comes out to this. He's like he's multiplying the date into the year, into the all this. Und so weiter und weiter. Als hat gerechnet, als ist gewesen auf sein Kopf. He calculated everything. Everything was on his head. Wegen als hat sich ausgefragt bei Shmuel Shames, was vielleicht damit sitzen in Kirch, wickeln Papyroslach und trinken ein Sachgläser Tee mit ein Stückel Zucker. So, regarding everything, he inquired Shmuel, the assistant, who was always sitting in the kitchen, wrapping up cigarettes and drinking a lot of glasses of tea and with one piece of sugar. Alamden und an eiserner Kopf, a scholar and a very strong head, like a
Retentive. He could memorize things.
yeah, okay. Und ober der Jid kein Breckel Cheshek nicht gehabt zu lernen und zu karlen sich und zu kovet von a Kli Kodesh. Even though he had all these qualities, all that potential, this Jew, he didn't have a bit of desire to study or to do community work. Karl is the congregate to do congregational work and to getting respect that a clergy would. Hat bei kein Fall nicht gewollt unter kein rabbonische Jupiter. He did not at all want to wear a rabbi's coat. That means he didn't want to appear as a rabbi. He didn't want to didn't want to impress as a rabbi. Via dying darf. He didn't want to wear the clothes that a judge needs to wear. I feel nicht kein Sameten Hitler, not even Samet, I forget.
Velvet.
Yeah, Samet, thank you. Nur hat getrogen a Kapotte wie alle Jiden. He just was wearing a capote. That's the black coat that Hasidim wear. He just wore a capote like all other Jews. Und hat zerknetschte Seidenhittel and a wrinkled silk hat. Seine Pees seinen euch gewen kaum Joitze zu sein. He was wearing earlocks. They were like small, just to fulfill the obligation of wearing those locks. But they was small, just
Barely fulfilling the obligation.
okay. Thank you. That's good. I have such good English teachers here. Beim Davenen in Bet HaMikdash pflegt ausgehen 18 früher für alle Jiden. When at the time of a prayer in the study house or the synagogue, he finished the prayer of 18 earlier than all other Jews. Stark frumme Weiber haben der Rieber nicht gehabt kein Cheshek zu gehen, fragen im Scheiles. very, very pious women, therefore didn't have a desire to go and ask him questions. Wie seien besser gegangen zum Seiden.
I think it's a misprint. Ze seinen.
Yeah, thank you. Sie seien besser gegangen zum Seiden. They prefer to go to the grandfather. Aber der Pfarrer ist man gekommen zu ihm mit den Teures überhaupt mit a selche, was haben gehabt zu tun mit verwickelte Cheshboines. But therefore, they used to come to him for legal, for certain legal decisions, particularly those that had to do with that verwickelte Cheshboines, the verwickelte, is it something that's underhanded?
No, complicated.
Complicated? Okay. Thank you. Jeden pflegen euch kommen zum Vetter Josef fragen Eitzes. Jews also used to come to Uncle Joseph to ask for advice. Der Vetter pflegt sitzen mit der stark verknetschten Stern, onlosen Gedichte, Wolkens mit Räuch, also als man hat gemeint, als ist Verton von Kopf bis die Fies in dem Eize-Frägers schweren Problem. Aber als jener pflegt endigen und warten auf dem Dians Eize, pflegt der Vetter Josef mit einmal anstellen auf ihm die Augen und sagen, geh. This is amazing. Ihr werdet mir Meuchel sein, über erzählen noch einmal, weil der Kopf ist mir gewinnt, Verton in a Cheshbon. Yeah, so instead of listening to the question that the person came with, he's sitting and calculating something, and then he says, "Excuse me, would you please repeat the question?" Because I was busy calculating. But anyway, this is he used to sit. Jeden vielleicht noch kommen zum Vetter Josef fragen jetzt. Der Vetter, the uncle used to sit with a wrinkled forehead, give out smoke.
Clouds of smoke.
Clouds of smoke. Yeah, thank you.
Thick clouds.
What did you say, Uncle?
Thick clouds of smoke.
Yeah, thick. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. So that it could be seen as that he is one could believe that he is busy from the head to the to the feet. His entire being is very concentrated in the difficult problem of the person that came to ask for advice. But when finally the person that came and when he would finish and he would wait for the judge's advice, Uncle Joseph, all at once, look at him and say quickly, you'll excuse me. Please, say it again, please, because my head was busy with the calculations. Ihnen haben im Meuchel gewesen, weil man hat gewusst, als das tut nicht zu lieb Geive oder Schlechtkeit, nur zu lieb Zertrogenkeit und ewiger Vertuenkeit in Cheshboines. Jews were forgiving him because they knew that he was doing this not because he's haughty or he's mean, because he's mean, but because he is
Distracted.
Okay, distraction. Because he's distracted and always deeply involved in calculations. Verkehrt, man hat gewusst, als bei seinen ewigen Cheshbenen und in Trogen die ganze Stadt auf seinen Kopf, ist beteva a gutmütiger Mensch, a Baal Teuve und a Machnis Eurach. On the contrary, they knew that by him
Alongside.
What did you say?
Alongside is how I translate
Okay,
that first
yeah,
by.
okay. Alongside with his eternal calculations, or maybe endless calculativeness and in carrying the whole town upon his head, he is naturally a very pleasant, good-tempered person, somebody who can do a favor and very hospitable. Rabbi Yosef, hört je, was ich red zu euch, od menem gemäußert. Zu wem denn soll man gehen an zu fragen, ob nicht zu a klugen Jid wie ihr, Rabbi Yosef? Rabbi Joseph, listen to what I'm saying to you. They were scolding him. To whom should we then go to look for advice, if not to such a smart person like you, Joseph? Joseph. Der Vetter Josef hat zugesagt, dass wird schon hören, jedes Wort, verräuchert an neuem Papyrus, verknecht dem größten Stern und wieder vertracht sich in seine ewige Cheshbones. No, so the uncle Joseph promised that he would now listen to every word, and then he smoked a new cigarette. He wrinkled his big forehead and once again started getting involved in his endless calculations. That's it for me.
Meine zwei Väter sind Mummis. My two uncles and aunts. Der Vetter Josef hat euch keinmal nicht gehört, was es hat gerät zu ihm sein Weib. Uncle Joseph also never listened to what his wife was saying to him. A heiche schwarze Jidne mit modnem Namen Sora Chizne. She was a tall brunette who had a very strange name, Sora Chizje. Chizje.
It's Polish.
Yeah, Chizje. That was her name. Oder die Kinder, a volle Stube mit Jünglich und Mädlich, was einer ist gewinn Reuter von Zweiten. Or listen to the children. He had a full household of boys and girls, and each one was more red-haired than the next. Die Stube hat Aj geblendet von seiner Reuterkap. The house was gleaming, actually, from their red heads.
What did you say, geblend?
Gleaming.
Gleaming?
Yeah.
It is blend.
Shining, blinding light,
Okay,
bright.
yeah. Isn't geblend from gel, the color?
No, it's from
yellow?
blind. It's from blind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dazzled, perhaps.
Dazzled, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's not from Gelb, it's from blind.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Von sehr Reuterke, okay. Die Mama Sora Chije hat damit gekocht und gebacken für ihr hübsch Hausgesinnt. Aunt Sora Chije, she was always cooking and baking for her large household. Ich habe sie ständig gesehen, stehen beim Oven, zusammen mit die Koscheres und Lopetes. I would always see her standing at the oven, along with her cooking utensils. Now, koscheres, I'm not quite sure what that is. Koscheres.
Pokers.
Yeah, pokers or rods for removing items from the oven is more likely here. And the lopetus are kind of, it means shovel, but it's a long wooden paddle for the putting things in the oven. A heuche, a dare, a schwarze, hat sie schon allein schier nicht ausgesehen wie a Kotschere. She was tall, thin, dark head, dark hair, and she actually almost looked herself like one of these pushing poles. Von ihr hat euch Tomit geschmeckt mit Gekerz und Gebäcks. She would always also emit the fragrance of cooked and baked goods. Wie sie is gewinn vernommen beim Oven, seien die Kinder gewinn vernommen beim Ausstoppen Papierossen fahren Vater. Just as she was always busy at the oven, her children were always busy at stuffing cigarettes in the papers for their father. That's the Uncle Yosef, who smoked a lot. Wie gich, sie haben die Papierossen gemacht, also gich hat sie der Vetter Yosef ausgeräuchert. As soon as they had made the cigarettes, that's how quickly my Uncle Yosef would smoke them. Hat nicht aufgehört räuchern und husten und weiter räuchern. He didn't stop smoking and then coughing and then smoking again. Wenn ihm vielleicht trocken wäre in Hals, vielleicht abrupton zu der Mumen beim Oven. Whenever he became dry in his throat, he would growl to my aunt, his wife, at the oven. Beme, mach mir a glass tea. Now, Beme is most likely cow. He's not calling his wife by a nice name. It's Behema, right?
Yeah, that was difficult in those days.
Yeah, okay.
For men to call women such names, yeah.
Yeah. Or,
yeah.
Hey, cow, make me a glass of tea.
Yeah.
Das hat in sein Wolliner Loschen rausgerät, das Wort Behema. And that's how he used to pronounce the word Behema in his accent from Wolin. Die Mama Sora Chije hat sich nicht beleidigt von den Namen. Now, Aunt Sora Chije, she didn't feel insulted by this name. Sie hat gewusst, als das sagt nicht zu Liebsine oder zu beleidigen sie, Chalile, nur als Retter scheint zu ihnen. She knew that he's not saying this out of hatred or to insult her, God forbid, but that's how he speaks to women. Dazu ist sie gewinn von einer kleineren Jiches wie ihr Mann und das zweite Weib seins. And at the same time, she was of a smaller family pedigree than her husband. And his second wife, she must be the third wife. Emes, als der Vetter Yosef is Sachakal gewen, a junger Manschik von a Jahr 20. True, that the Uncle Yosef was altogether a young man of 20 years old. Then the Chasna gehat mit der Muma Sora Chisha when he married Aunt Sora Chisha, a maidel who was a girl at the time. Aber hat schon gehat war ihre Weib, but he already had before her a wife, was is gestorben, who had died, und in übergelost a Techteral, and had left him a little daughter. Was hat sich aufgehalten bei ihrer Älteren, who was living with her, with the former wife's parents in der Stadt Novgorod-Volinsk, in the Voliner city Novgorod. Vosin rufen sie Zviel, which by the Jewish name of the town is Zviel. Und Chotch die Mume is given in ein Alter mit ihr Mann, and even though Aunt was the same age as her husband, wenn sie hat geboren a Hiebspissel Kinder, to whom she had borne a great number of children, hat sie sich damit gefühlt a bissel gefallen damit. She still felt a little bit
Inferior?
Inferior, thank you. Inferior,
yeah.
because of was sie is sein Zweitweib, that she was his second wife. Okay, so I got it wrong. She's und das zweite Weib seins. Okay, so she was her the second wife, right? Because she felt a little bit inferior because she was his second wife. Und geguckt zu ihm wie ein Kind zu der Erwachsenen. And she looked up to him like a child would look up to an adult. The Meristons, poor folk, in Leumdische Häuser, like the majority of couples living in highly educated households, haben sich Mann und Weib beim besten Leben wenig ungehört. The man and wife at best, how would you translate wenig ungehört?
Spoke very little.
Maybe spoke very little. We'll see maybe what he means by that. Der Vetter Yosef is given a Lamden, a Kopmensch. Uncle Yosef, he was a scholar, an intellectual. Die Muma a poshete Yidne. Auntie, she was a simple woman. Was hat gewusst bloß von Kochen, Backen und Kindlen. All she knew was cooking, baking, and having children. Und der Vetter Yosef hat keinen anderen Namen nicht gehabt für sein Weib wie Bema. Well, Uncle Yosef had no other name for his wife but Behema. Sie ist schon zugewohnt zu dem Namen. She was already accustomed to this particular name. Wie wollt gewen ihrer von geboren an, as if that name had been hers from when she was born. Bema, Bema, fleckt der Vetter Yosef rufen gich. Cow. Uncle, what's that?
This is terrible.
Yeah, well, maybe it's a place to stop then. We're actually out of time, so
Yeah,
we'll
okay.
leave it there.
Okay, with the Beheme, okay.
Yeah, leave it
Okay,
at Bema.
can I say something now?